we give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Him, the Most High, to continue to show His mercy on the leader of humanity, Prophet Muhammad, his household and companions and followers till the day of accountability. We are all aware of the threat MEND has categorically spelled out in the media for the consumption of Nigerians and the globe at large. Nigerian movement for the emancipation of the Niger-Delta threatened to bomb mosque and assassinate Muslim clerics, that is ulamas. Not only that, but to attack gatherings of Muslims across the nation. Now, bombing mosque is categorically mentioned. Bombing Hajj camps, as we have across the nation, is also mentioned. Islamic institutions, apart from the mosque, are also spelled out. Large congregations in Islamic events, in assassinations of scholars, as earlier mentioned, is spelled out in their speech. This is not a secret agenda. It is openly mentioned. The federal government is aware. States are aware. Local governments are aware. All private sectors also are aware. Media have carried it all over. But I say to the Muslim community, this is not a new idea. It is not a new ideology. It has been there right from the time of Nabi Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. That was the case with all generations and nations. It's never a new thing at all. It is what is hidden in their hearts of hatred that has been exposed. But more danger ideas against us is within their hearts, concealed or known. So a Muslim should not be scared of this. A Muslim should not be disturbed of this. But a Muslim should be worried that we are loose. Most of us are just conventional Muslims, unlike our grandfathers who are convincing Muslims, who abide with the principles and the dictates of the Quran and that of the Sunnah. Today, when they drink, we drink. When they steal, we steal. When they fornicate, we are in front. In all type of corruption, you cannot differentiate that person who is saying La ilaha illallah and somebody who is antagonizing La ilaha illallah. This is the problem we are in. This is the only problem that actually is facing the Muslim Ummah, not a threat from individuals who doesn't even own their lives, talk less of life of others. Sincerely speaking, we must readdress the issue of our being loose as regard to the teaching of Quran and the Sunnah. This is the area we must emphasize on. Let us quote verses where a similar threat was confronting Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are aware that he has to leave Mecca for Medina because of persecution and maltreatment of Meccan regime. Meccan regime was so brutal in the history of humanity that Muslims are not spared in Mecca. They have to leave Mecca for Medina. Our religion is a peaceful religion. It's not a violence religion. It's not a confrontation religion. It's a religion of conviction. Like Rahafiddin. Lakum dinukum waliddin. We don't force anybody into our religion. In our religion, even if you pray, you are a Muslim and you pray, and you don't pray for Allah's sake, Allah is not in need of your prayers. How do you force somebody to become a Muslim then? Because even you yourself, if you do an act not to please Allah, Allah is not in need of it. Then there is no way you can force somebody into Islam. It's a misconception. Talk less of somebody who is not a Muslim. But the confrontation has been there in history. The only way out is for Muslims to be steadfast. Muslims should shun all acts of criminalities. Today, some Muslims even kill souls just because of material of this world. How can you justify that? And how can Allah give us victory when we are part and parcel of corruption? Now, this is the only threat that we should fear, the attitude, our behaviors of today. Not somebody somewhere making noise that is going to do this, is going to do that. It's very unfortunate. That was said to the companions of Rasulullah. Allah says in the Quran, Ali Imran verses 173 to 175, Ali Imran. Allah says, those to whom people, that is the kuffar of Makkah and hypocrites, they said, indeed, the people have gathered against you. So fear them. Fear those who have gathered against you. Fear them. Allah says, but that threat has increased in the iman of the companions. Increased them in faith. And they said, sufficient for us is Allah. Sufficient for us is Allah. Hasbunallah. Allah is sufficient for a Muslim that is sincere. Allah is sufficient for you. Let me tell you, even if you are the only person in the world as a Muslim, Allah is sufficient for you against your enemies. Hasbunallah. It was said by almost all the prophets. So we should engage ourselves in saying, Hasbunallah. It shouldn't be a tongue utteration only. It should be a word from your heart that Allah is sufficient for you. Allah says, they said, sufficient for us is Allah, and He is the best disposer of affairs. So they return with favor from Allah and bounty of Allah without anybody touching them. And they pursue the pleasure of Allah. And Allah is the possessor of great bounty. That is Satan, who threaten those who are his awliya, his friends. They cannot frighten you. They cannot threaten you. It is their satanic awliyas they can frighten. But Allah says, if you are true believers, that is the condition. They cannot frighten you. They cannot threat you except if you are not a good believer. So let us rejuvenate our iman. Let us concretize. Let us solidify our iman. Let us make it so solid and firm that is unshakable, like the mountain of Zuma Rock. No amount of wind can shake it. That is what you're supposed to be as regards your iman, rooted, unshakable. We shouldn't resort to any other way more than that. And Allah is going to be by our side. Let me follow this by advising us. And I've mentioned in my House of Action, federal government has started making a move to ensure Nigerians that their lives and properties are safe. This is a good starting. Meanwhile, we advise Muslims with the following. Of course, we salute the stand of Catholic Church by making a clear pronouncement against what men have said. To the Muslim community in this mosque and generality of Muslims across this nation, we should engage in saying Hasbunallah sincerely. We should make sure our iman increases on a daily basis by doing goodness. We should never attack any Christian or church. It has never been our culture. That was why when the Madallah Church was attacked, you are aware, the Imams Forum of FCT, almost all of them were there. For the first time, my humble self entered into a church. So as to condole them and to inform them that Islam is against such. And we visited all the hospitals where victims of the circumstance were. This is to inform you clearly that that is the stand of Muslims and Islam. So never will you think of attacking any church or any Christian. It has never been our pattern and it shouldn't be innovated. Security issue. All of us should serve as security to our place of worship. Never be disturbed when you are asked to open your bag or to park your car or to to tell you that stay here or there. Let us cooperate with those who are doing that in the mosque. It is for our own interests. We should do dua. We should do dua. A serious committed dua against those who are against us. Rasulullah has did that in the past. Pious servants have did that and Allah has accepted. You are aware of how Allah dealt with those who were about destroying the Kaaba. That can still happen today. History can still repeat itself, so we should resort to dua. As to the federal government, let them know again that it is duty bound on them to save life and properties of Nigerians, regardless of their religion, states, color, or local governments. The move made is not enough. Government should halt corruption. Any nation into corruption like that of Nigeria will have a little to do to criminals. Because a criminal cannot checkmate the excess of a criminal. Leadership is having that power when you maintain the pattern of truth. When you yourself, you are questionable. You cannot question somebody questionable. This is very, very clear in the Nigerian content. We should try, our leaders should try, especially the Muslims among them. Let them do away with corruption. Because intending to attack mosques is a corruption too. It's a corruption. When you are corrupt, you cannot checkmate the excess of those who are corrupt. So let the good thing that we have mentioned to the nation of Nigeria should continue. We shouldn't be the leaders who are going behind corrupt and thinking they can tackle messes going on in the nation. You are aware that a very big stakeholder in this nation, after the bomb of 2010, bomb blast of October, some stakeholders who are not supposed to talk were defending parties who are not supposed to be defended in this nation. We are reading. Muslims are a community of reading. Our book calls us to read and not to forget. A stakeholder in the nation could come boldly out to defend people who are actually into criminality in the name of tribalism. It was said loudly. You can recall it back to media. It is there documented. And finally, they are convicted in South Africa that they are behind the criminality of that happening. Our eyes are opened. Our eyes are opened. And we continue to open it more and more. We are going to be law-abiding citizens, but we will never take somebody actually meting injustice on us. Our lives are sacred as any other life. Our religion is paramount to us. We don't compromise it. We don't compromise it. Thank you very much.